If you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. This is a quote by, I think it's Alexander Hamilton. I just looked it up. There might be others too. And it is actually something I also wrote a little bit about in my book, Imagine Being Kind to Yourself, that I wrote 15 years ago, I think. But I want to bring it up today because to me, on my spiritual journey, when I know to the core, the bottom of my heart, what I want more than anything, then that is like, it's like a card when you play poker. You have a trump card that trumps everything. And when you have that feeling inside of what you want more than anything, then you will not fall for everything. And I think we can agree that there is plenty to fall for every single day, every single moment. Just go and check your emails. Like you can fall for all the offers and suggestions and things like that. And then there's the world. And there's always these suggestions and these suggestions. Like Joel Goldsmith, he calls them hypnotic suggestions. And they are endless. And if you do not know what you stand for, you'll be falling for so many things. And then you find yourself being just far, far away from who you are, what you want. And you're just like, what is going on? How did I end up here? So it's because if we don't have that inner GPS. It's like you put in the address, and that's my destination, and I'm gonna get there. And if you forget to look at your GPS or on your road map, you'll get off track and you'll end up somewhere totally, totally different. And I know we've all done this, and we do it probably daily. You may get up in the morning and say, I'm going to do this. And then there's all these suggestions and all these exciting things, and then you forget. And then at the end of the day, you go like, what happened? And many people end their lives like that. They go like, what happened? How did I end up here? What kind of a life did I live? And we don't need to end up like that. So I want to inspire you and invite you to really take it seriously, to find out what you really, really want. And I have talked about this a lot, and I probably will continue to do so, because that, on my spiritual journey, that is what brings me back all the time. Nobody is free from temptations. They are all around us all the time. But for those who know where they want to go, what experience they want to have, what their destination is, they do not get lost. At least not for very long. I'm not saying nobody does, because I think everybody does. But the stronger you know what you want, you just make that your resting place, your go-to, your home, no matter what happens. It's not always easy, but it is a lot easier when you know your destination, you know what you want, and you're committed to it. And the commitment can only come from a place deep inside, because you feel it in your core. I would say when it is so deep, at least that is in my experience, it feels like a soul calling. And what a blessing Because what is my soul calling me to do or to be or to go? Home, simply home. Where is home? Well, that is if you follow that longing, instead of following it out as if there's something out there that you need to fulfill your longing, it's not true. But when you follow the feeling and the sensation and the experience and the energy of the longing, you'll notice that that feeling is in here. I mean, you can just think of something right now, something you long for. It could be a little thing or it could be a big thing, but it's a longing is much, much deeper than something you want. That's kind of the surface mind wanting something, thinking that's going to make it happy. No, I'm talking about the deep, deep longing in your heart. And if you haven't taken the time to explore that within yourself, I would say please reach out to me on my website. The link is in the description. Um, I am actually getting ready to launch a program that I did several years ago, and I want to relaunch it. And part of that is to find that deep, deep longing. That was kind of a little side note, but it is so important to find out what you deeply long for, and it is felt in the body. It's like it's like, I want that. Nothing else matters. This is the only thing that matters. And it takes time to get there. So don't worry about it. All the layers above it are equally important. But when you feel that, then instead of going out to get, relationship, a new car, a new job, blah, 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 you follow that feeling. You follow it in, you get curious about that longing. It's like, what is that thing in there? What is that feeling? What is that yearning? So you get really curious about it. And then you go there to find out what it is. Because it is an experience that is inside of you. And we can always go into the body and be curious about our experiences. So you go there. You just open yourself up to what is this longing? And I'm not going to say or tell you what it is because it will be your own unique experience that nobody can tell you. The experience is inside of the longing, and it is really a sweet longing. There's a sweetness, maybe a bitter sweetness at times because we're not fully there yet. But if you keep following the longing, not the bitterness of it, but the sweetness of it, inside, and get to know it really well. And then you'll also realize that this is actually what matters more than anything. And then give yourself to that. Make that your destination every day. When you do it every day, to simply take time, even just a minute or two or three, 1 minute, 3 times a day, something like that, where you just go and like, oh, what is it again? Oh, that's right. And then these other things, they lose their grip. they don't they don't pull you out anymore. So you don't fall for them anymore. You go back in, like, oh, that's what I want. And there is a sweetness to it. And the beauty is that that longing that you feel, that what you long for is you, and it is already inside of you. That is why you are feeling it in here. It's not a mistake that you feel that. It is something that lives in you. Excuse me. And when you go in there and get curious about it, then you'll learn. And then it will, excuse me, guys, I have a little frog in my throat. So when you go there and hang out there It's like it opens up to you. It shows you. It helps you feel it much deeper. Does that make sense? When you feel the depth of your longing, there's nothing else that matters. It's not that your life doesn't matter. You live your life, you enjoy your life, but you know that what you really want isn't out there. It is who you are. So instead of falling for everything out there, try and stand for something that really, really matters. And I cannot tell you how this has been kind of a lifesaver for me, and still is at times where where there's discomfort, there's challenges, there's things that want to pull me out or in if there's discomfort in the body or something. I don't give my life to that anymore. I might just feel tempted for a little bit. I might even get pulled into it for a little bit. But because it's so different than what I really want, I leave it immediately. It's like, oh, no, no, no. That's not what I want. I want to go to this sweet longing inside that is the only thing that really matters. I'm not saying other things don't matter. Of course they do. But what really and truly matters, something that would be a non-negotiable. When you find it, it becomes a non-negotiable in any of your interactions. If anybody wants to make you do something that's out of alignment with your longing, what you stand for, you know what? There isn't even any debate about it or arguing. It's like, no, no, that's not me. Sorry. It's so simple. And we can all do it, but it does take time to learn that, to get in touch with that. And it doesn't have to be the deepest part right away, but it may be for you. But all the other things, they need to be met so they can come into wholeness, so they're not pulling at you. Because what's actually pulling at us is our emotional attachments. That's actually a very important piece when you realize that the things that pull you out still is simply an emotional attachment, believing that that thing needs to happen in order for you and I to feel at peace, to be able to relax, to feel okay about ourselves. And that's a trap. When you see that trap, you will do something to unhook it, because we can't unhook from everything right away. That's impossible. But when you see something pulling you away from what you really want, and this is a process, it's probably not something you learn overnight. It is a process. But when you start feeling that it's an attachment, that you're kind of grasping for something, you are hoping to get something out there that can only be found in here. So it's kind of a little bit of a battle and a flow where you need to learn how to unhook the emotional attachment. And that's the work that we all need to do. And, my specialty in that is self-love. There's many other ways, but self-love, I think, is very, very important and very hard for most people. But you can learn it. I was not an expert at it before I started it, and now it feels like it's just second nature. So I know it can be done. I would say if I could do it, anybody can do it. But it does take that commitment. It's like, what do I stand for? Well, I stand for I'm not going to be unloving to myself anymore. I'm not going to ignore what my truth is anymore. And as soon as you make that commitment, then all the fears like, well, then nobody's going to like me. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to happen this and that. That's the fear. And those are the ones that keep pulling us out from ourselves again until we are so committed that we are just in alignment. And we can always come back if we veer off a little bit. You just come back and you say, I'm sorry. I don't do that anymore. I hear it's hard for you and I understand, but I just cannot be not true to myself anymore. This is my ground. And I know if I leave my ground, I'm gonna suffer. And I think it's the suffering also that helps us to unhook from that. Please reach out. And if you are interested in that little program that I'm going to launch, not right away, but probably in a month or two or something, I'm still working on getting it all finished. If you're interested, make sure you get on my email list, and you can do that by going to my website, which is in the description below. And then you'll hear about it, and you'll also stay updated about, how to prepare for it, what's going on in the meantime. And of course, because this is what I offer, this is my message. I think it's incredibly important, and I think that is how it is for all of us when we find our thing. It's because it is really important and it has changed our lives in many ways. And that's why it's nice to share it with others. So, no pressure, just an invitation and an offering, and just see if it resonates and if you feel that this might help you on your journey. All right, my friends, see you next time.